Hi, everyone, and welcome to another AME session here at Crypto Miners. I am going to be your host, as you already know. On today's session, we have the privilege, to be talking to, or talking with rather, the team from the Angelo ecosystem. Um, this is like a fusion of art, yes, art with um, Web3 technology. Let me just put it that way. But when the team gets here, they are going to, give us more information regarding the project. So if you are new to any of our sessions, as I always say, please do well to stay till the end of session, and then if you have any questions that you would like to ask the team or you would like to know about the project, then we will try to take them as many as we can. All right. So once again, welcome everyone. And I see that the team is here. I'm guessing Jordan is representing the team.
In the house.
Hi, Jordan. Welcome here.
How are you, darling? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I am fit as a fiddle, as we say over here.
All right, that's great. So, I am honestly excited about, getting into the project. Like I said, art. I mean, a lot of us love art, even though, some of us, myself included, might not have so much knowledge when it comes to art, but we love it. And we would like to just, get right in. So if we could begin with an introduction of the team, because I would really, really love to meet the team behind the Angelo project. So please, could you give us like an introduction of the team, maybe a little bit of background, and then we can go and talk about other things that regards the project.
Yeah, certainly. Actually, a few members of the team are listening on this phone call right now. The handsome gentleman to the right of me is actually my partner. You'll see him with the same background image. Eduardo Testa, and he comes from a former M&A background, used to be an investment banker. He's done his time in the financial, or his prison time in the financial markets, I might add. And now he's looking to do something more exciting with his life, do something that's a little bit more fulfilling. My name is Jordan Parks. I've had a background in B2B marketing for about 10 years or so, far too long at this point. So there's only so many industrial HVAC units that you want to, advertise for and try to convince people to buy before you're like, all right, what am I doing with my life here? I got to turn over a new leaf and try something new. So I went into crypto kind of early on. Unfortunately, did not stay with it with my early investments. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on this phone call right now. But nonetheless, we all learn from our mistakes, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
there's a big team. So we got like 15 or 16 other people that work at this company. Some people actually come from my former marketing company that's still in operation now. We've got Yvonne, who's also on this phone call. He's on the Angelo ecosystem account with Bunny over there on the left corner. He's our resident blockchain fanatic and TikTok marketer. We got Raj, who used to work as the former FCA official. That's the SEC equivalent over here in UK. A lot of experience with regulation, a lot of experience with high level stuff that none of us even want to get into at this moment because it's too long of a conversation in light of recent actions from the three letter agencies. We have an art advisory board. We have so many at this point. We have a CTO. We have these smart contract developers that have a ton of experience, and they've worked on a bunch of other applications before migrating over to ours. So it's quite a big enterprise at this point.
All right. Could we? Okay, let me begin by asking, um, what? Just to be clear, what is the Angelo project about? Is it a tokenization of art? And I just want to be like really clear on this so that before we move forward.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to make some adjustments to the homepage based on the feedback I saw on your guys' AMA because it's a common confusion to look at our project and be like, hey, is this like a digital art project? Is this like an NFT project? It's not. It's we are tokenizing physical fine art, so art pieces that exist in the real world. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is basically incorporate like exchange like abilities with the physical fine art market, right? So it's like trading the crypto token, but instead of the token, you're trading the actual representation of the physical fine art in the real world, right? But you have all the advanced trading options. You have limit, stop loss, market orders, and later we'll add in some more exciting things like, leverage trading or trailing losses, these types of things, right? So what we're trying to do here is bring in, the fine art market, which hasn't changed in over like 200 years. Basically, it's the same thing if you're going to an auction in 1850 versus today, not much different. We're trying to bring that into the modern world, and we believe that the blockchain is the best way to do that.
Interesting. Really interesting. I remember hosting a space like 2 days ago, and that had to do with tokenizing real estate. And in my head,
Yeah,
I kept thinking, real estate, the tokenization of real estate is seems to be one of the first breakthrough when it comes to sort of merging Web 2 to Web 3. And I was sort of looking forward to other aspects, other sectors where we can tokenize music, entertainment, and now look at it, we have arts like right here, and that is why it's so interesting for me to be hosting.
yeah. I listened to that interview. You guys have a prop base. I think it's who you were talking to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I listened to that, and they're doing something quite similar to us. Although I think that they are going to run into a lot more headwind, just because I actually thought about real estate as being like one of the first targets maybe to tokenize, but there's just so many regulation red tape when it comes to home ownership and stuff that we ultimately ended up going with fine art, because fine art is essentially an unregulated industry, right? So we're kind of bringing an unregulated asset into like a semi-regulated like setting, because fractionalized trading is regulated. So that's something we have to be conscious about, but it's nowhere near the headache of trying to work across the globe with different real estate jurisdictions and all the laws that apply to them domestically. So yeah,
Interesting.
I think that Web 2 to Web 3 is definitely actually the future for all this stuff. I mean, blockchain is actually much more applicable. I think this might be a little bit contrary to most people's belief, but much more applicable to physical objects, right? They actually make much more sense in the blockchain.
But what would you say motivated your focus on the intersection of art and Web 3? What would you say motivated the should I say the idea behind Angelo?
So what is like our mission statement behind it? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, exactly. Like the reason why you developed the project.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. Like me and my co-founder are both collectors of art. I've been around artists my whole life, even though I've mostly been in tech and marketing myself. But all my friends essentially have been of that variety. And if you look at like the existing paradigm, it's really not fair for them, right? If you're like a new artist to get represented by a gallery, like a gallery, if you're like, unless you have like a gigantic following of like millions of people, they're going to charge you like 40 or 50% commissions on all of your work, right? Maybe even as high as 60%, right? And they're not gonna let you out of that contract for God knows how many number of years at this point. So to be a new artist today, first of all, just to get your foot in the door is very difficult. You might spend years trying to network, trying to get to know people, kind of begging them like, hey, could you please display my work at your, in front of all your rich friends at X gallery. So like there's like thousands and thousands of great artists trying to get through like this very narrow hole, right? And the ones that do get through get slapped with like 50 to 60% like of all of their sales basically get taken by the gallery. So it's a very predatory, unfair system that they have to go through, right? And when we thought of Angelo, we're like, all right, how can we like improve this? How can we make a platform where artists are going to benefit, right? And we're like, all right, blockchain has a lot of amazing community, a lot of people that are interested in this. If we bring like 100,000 eyeballs to each work that comes out, they don't have to wait, right? They don't have to go out there and try to find someone to represent them. They don't have to do any of that. They can actually just literally list on our platform Each work will get shown to 100,000 people a week, and they're going to get instant feedback. And if they're good and people like their work, they're going to get the sales direct to the source, right? So we started this to try to make this more fair for artists, level playing ground, and essentially we have like some pretty high level ambitions to kind of make this like like the Netflix of art, so to speak. That's why we initially got involved in this business. Now it's evolved, many layers along the way, but that was our initial premise, to make a platform that's more fair for artists, essentially, right?
Okay, interesting. Um, how would you say Angelo leverages blockchain technology, right, to enhance art experience for, especially for collectors? Let's talk about collectors first. How does Angelo leverage blockchain technology to enhance the art overall art experience for collectors of art?
Yeah, so one of the great benefits of the blockchain, obviously, is its permanent status, right? So once information is recorded in there, it goes into the public ledger and it's not disputable at that point. So one of the problems with fine art market today, and I have been through this myself when I've tried to validate a Picasso, is the provenance. And provenance is a really fancy word that basically means you need to like check who the buyer is, where the art's been, how much it's worth, was it obtained through some like illicit means. So if you have like a painting that's worth like $1 million, you have to go through like a huge layer of background checks and research and information just to ascertain if that work is legitimate or if it was not, obtained illegitimately. So the reason the blockchain is great is because once you do that process once, it's done, right? No one else has to do it at that point because the information becomes encoded and it's digital. So all of the works that goes on Angelo from here on forth don't have to go through that rigorous process again, which costs time, money, resources that the average person doesn't have, right? So that's the primary reason. Like, okay, first of all, we have an amazing community. Second of all, we have this information that's stored forever. This is perfect for fine art. That was one of the other reasons we decided to do this instead of like a standard Web 2 application.
All right. Um, um, let me ask this. Um, how does Angelo ensure I mean, I imagine that there has to be, um, should I say criteria, of course, that, should I say artists, yes, criteria that artists have to meet before their pieces can get listed on the Angelo Marketplace. So, how does Angelo ensure the authenticity and provenance? Here goes the word of the art
Yeah,
pieces
there goes.
on on its platform. Yeah.
Yeah, so the beginning, because our objective is to make this as safe as an environment for investors as possible. So, one of the criticisms I have of the NFT market is that there's no like research done on the artist. It's just like a free for all or whatever. So anyone that comes on our platform, at least in the beginning, will definitely have the due diligence done. And due diligence basically just means like, okay, is this artist showing at other exhibitions around the world? Have they had any kind of success metrics before? Has anyone collected them before? Right. So once you have some of these base parameters met, we can then bring them onto the platform at that point, right? But that's a process that we're all doing very Web 2, right? So we have an art advisory board that's advising us on each piece that comes in, and if it's the most likely success that's going to happen with these guys. So that's one thing that's very different from like OpenSea or Blur, where just anyone can sell whatever they want. We have like a pretty rigorous process for identifying which artists might be investable for our users.
Um, Okay, before I ask the next question, I think I spotted a question in the comment section of this Twitter space, and I feel like it's a really great question, and perhaps it will help enlighten people. So this question, Crypto Knights, right, is asking what is the major difference and similarities between NFTs and fine arts and the art that obviously is getting listed on the Angelo Marketplace.
Yeah, so first of all, these aren't really NFTs in the traditional sense. I mean, we're calling them PNFTs initially, like in house here, which is just like physical NFTs. So it's sort of like a new category in of its own. With the traditional NFT, you can withdraw it to your wallet, you can pass it around to whoever you want, you can list it wherever you want. These ones, you initially at least, you're not going to be able to do that, right? So just because we are being regulated by the European Union currently, it's not something we can allow for people to withdraw to their wallets and just pass around whatever they want because that's not something that falls within the regulatory guidelines as of this moment. Now, in the future, will that be possible? Probably, as more tech becomes available and regulation evolves. But for now, the physical NFTs that we have are just going to be able to be traded on the Angelo ecosystem. So that's probably like the biggest difference between what you're going to find right now. But other than that, the tech is pretty identical, except for the fact that we fractionalized this. So it's not like you buy a board ape and you own that like that entire board ape, right? These fractionalized into like units that you can buy, right? So those are the main differences between the two at the moment.
Thank you for answering that. Now, let me ask. Um, okay, let me put it this way. Could you walk us through the process of acquiring and owning art pieces through Angelo? Like in a very simple um a way, you know, how can we acquire and own art pieces through Angelo platform? If you could just walk us through it real quick.
Yeah, sure. It's really not that complicated, really. You got your standard email login. Then you go through a KYC process once you've hit above a certain level of transaction. From there, you're going to be able to trade shares just like you would on any crypto exchange. So anyone who's traded on an exchange, forex, stock market, the controls that are there are very familiar to you already. In fact, we made it probably even more simple than almost any other trading website. I really went through a lot of effort to try to make it as easy as possible. So you just need a little bit of rudimentary basic financial knowledge, right? You need to, be able to read candlesticks. You need to be able to like put like, limit orders, stop loss, these kinds of things, right? So if you can do that, you already know how to use the site essentially. But there's a two parts process. We have the primary market and then we have the secondary market, right? So the primary market is kind of like the pre-sale, right, of each fractional art base. So that's going to be timed. So they're going to be, pieces that come out probably once or twice a week. And those are going to be sold at a fixed price, right? At a lower fixed price than what's going to be available in the secondary market. So once you get in there, and you kind of have to be like, Johnny on the spot, move quick, buy the pieces you want because a lot of other people will be trying. Then you pivot over to the secondary market. At that point, you have your traditional financial controls where you can, be like, okay, painting X is being sold for 500. I want to put in like a buy order for 400, and the system will automatically just, fill that order once somebody else has matched it, right? So traditional order book, right? Nothing out of the ordinary here. Interestingly enough, with our platform, if you want to actually own the entire piece, it is possible. So people that buy 65% of the fractions will automatically trigger a buyout clause for the remainder of fractions outstanding, right? So those will automatically come up as an offer. The guy can be like, okay, yes or no, I want to buy it, the whole thing right now. At that point, it'll sell out the remainder shares to him and we will ship him the physical piece, right? So this is not for paintings who just like remain trading indefinitely. There is an exit, strategy for actually acquiring the physical piece for the actual art collectors out there. Right. Kind of a long-winded answer, but I mean it's it's not really complicated. It's like a three-step process to begin trading, essentially. Oh, did I lose you, Jenny? If you're speaking, it's on mute, my dear. I seem to have some mic troubles here. Let's just give her a minute to resolve that. Maybe you should try rejoining. Yeah, try rejoining, my dear. I'll scroll through the questions that are posted here, see if I can answer things in the downtime. Okay, let's see what you all have got to ask Angelo here. Okay, I got one. There's one question in the feed about if the third-party developers can get involved to expand the network. So yeah, this is based on the Ethereum network for our primary sale market. Like a lot of exchanges, we have virtual wallets for our secondary market. So at the moment, we don't need third-party assistance for developers to get involved as of now, since it's kind of like a closed system and it's already on the Ethereum chain as is. We probably will be adding other chains besides Ethereum, perhaps Matic, perhaps Avalanche. That's something that we're debating in the next phase of things. So that's that question. Let me find another one in the Twitter feed here. All right, one question. How does Angelo address scalability challenges to accommodate a large number of users and transactions without compromising performance? Great question. For that one, we sort of made a hybrid platform. So it's a Web 2 / Web 3 platform. Yeah. So because of the gas fees and the network performance of a lot of chains, particularly Ethereum's notorious, sometimes we're having high gas fees and sometimes being slow to process occasionally here and there. We felt that it would be best to actually incorporate a lot of Web 2 elements as well, right? So while the initial smart contract is encoded in Ethereum, the majority of the trading is actually based on Web 2 protocols. So it's a nice hybrid platform. So we haven't seen in our alpha and beta tests any significant degradation of performance because we've combined the best of both worlds. Yeah. So but that's not really a problem. We can easily onboard 100K users and but not without any kind of difficulty. All right, let me check. Next question. She's still not back. Looks like we're doing the show solo. Here we go, everyone. let me go through the next tweets here. Okay, the question. How exactly will users earn on the Angelo platform? What tokens will be used? Yeah, so for now, just to make things easy, so we are trying to recruit the Web 2 audience, right? Because the Web 2 audience obviously is much bigger than Web 3. And for Web 3 to have a future, we need the Web 2 audience to actually be onboarded into, all these various platforms that we're all making. Otherwise, we are doomed to failure, right? So the tokens on the platform we chose to accept for now is just the stable coins, mainly USDT. And the reason being is we don't want the Web 2 audience to get confused, right? So we've priced things in like ETH, or we price things in BTC. Your standard Web 2 person is just going to go on there, have a heart attack, and just like, what is this? And they'll just leave immediately. So everything's priced in USDT because it basically looks like USD, right? If you're not really paying close attention, you're just going to see USD. You're like, oh, okay, this costs $300 per share. I understand, right? So that's the initial token that we're supporting. The initial network is Ethereum, possibly with Avalanche Matic added just for people that want to avoid the gas fees later on. All right, is she back with us? Let me check. Nope, not yet. Still going on my own. That's all right. I'm used to being on my own in everything in life, guys. Just ask my wife. Let me Let me go through the next tweet here. Okay. One of the striking features is the curator ecosystem. What is the opportunity given to establish and emerging art curators? Tell us more about the curator ecosystem. Sure, no problem. So our token was, we were like looking far and wide for like, okay, what is an actual use case of this token? What utility can it have beyond just like a simple staking model? And I think we came up with something pretty good. So what we want to do is use the token to incentivize taste making. Yeah, so when you buy the forthcoming Angelo token, or you're on our airdrop, which is going on right now, you can use the Angelo token to kind of deposit with our in-house art curators. And our in-house art curators will allocate those tokens to works that they think are the most investable in the platform, right? So what you're doing is you're participating in the taste making of art, basically, when you use the Angelo token. And that's a pretty novel utility that I haven't really seen with anything else, right? Beyond just simply earning money, right? And based on the performance of what those art curators do, you will earn a small return going back to your account if those art curators are successful, right? So it's kind of like backing a panel of judges, which is going to kind of influence the direction of art, right? And all the users participating with the Angelo token will be able to see the recommendation from the art curators on the platform. So it will kind of move the direction of the market, so to speak, right, by your participation, which we thought was a pretty novel idea. All right, Jenny, are you back with us?
Hi, I'm back. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I
Um,
just started going down the Twitter feed and answering questions.
that was that was so thoughtful of you. We seem to have some of this problem sometimes, and Twitter can just be so annoying. But thank you for covering for me. Thank you.
That's all right. I do a lot of Twitter Spaces, AMAs on my own, so it's all good.
Yeah. All right. So you've covered all of those. But I would like to ask a couple more questions. And let me begin with you mentioned how Angelo provides support, for emerging artists. And so how does Angelo go about this? You know, how does he or should I say what steps does Angelo take to support emerging artists, and how do you help them gain the exposure that they need?
Yeah, first of all, we're actively seeking them out. So most fine art today is based on the artists of yesterday or yesteryear, not so much what's coming out now. So first of all, we're probably the only platform that's actually catering to new emerging artists just in general. So we're building relationships with these people, trying to get them on board into our system. And we further support them by giving them a huge audience that's going to basically validate their work within 2 weeks of it coming out, right? So if you're like an artist today, like a new artist, it might take you like a decade to actually get recognition if you're good, right? Even if you're amazing, right? It takes a very long time for your value to actually be appreciated or just to get shown to the right people. With Angelo, if you're a new artist, if you want to find out if people like your work or not, you're going to find out within like a few weeks, right? It's just a drastic difference because there should be so many users concentrated on that, so many eyeballs that are concentrated on your work at one time. You're going to get that instant feedback if something is good or not, right? Other than that, just from strictly financially speaking, for a new emerging artist to list with us costs nothing, right? So if you remember that I mentioned to you before, if you're a new artist, you go to a gallery to represent you, it's going to cost you between like 40 and 50% commission. For us, it's zero, right? So we charge like a 10% on the buyers, but it's 0% on the artist. So it's an extremely pro artist platform, really, at its core, right? So it's very compelling if you're a new artist who really understands, this is the direction that everyone's moving. Nobody's going to go offline in the future. Like the current system we have now is very antiquated, very old, and just to give you an idea, The biggest auction houses in the world, which is Sotheby's and Christie's, didn't even start selling anything online until 2021, which is like, hello, haven't you have you heard of the internet? It's here, you know.
Right. Okay, let me
I'm getting a
ask,
little bit of
right?
lag on your system again.
So assuming, yeah. Oh, wait, can you hear me?
All right, it's coming in now again. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, so assuming you were to get a very notable piece of art, let's say Van Gogh, the what's the title of the art? The Starry Nights or something like that. If you were to get a piece of art like that and somebody, maybe the collector of that particular art or wants to list it on Angelo, is that possible to list very notable pieces in the world on the Angelo
Yeah,
platform?
yeah, definitely it very much is. It's not the focus right now, but definitely going on later, it's something we want to do. Just because for those very large pieces, you need a ton of liquidity, right? You need a lot of the user base. So it's not something you want to like start off on. So that's like the mistake a lot of other competitors in the space are doing. You know, they're leading off with like a, you know, like a Basquiat or like a Picasso, and it costs, you know, like millions of dollars. If you were to split millions of dollars into shares, I mean, you just need like a huge amount of users that are constantly buying to actually support the price level for that. So it's something we would definitely want to get into because obviously, you know, everybody likes like the big names, you know, the most well-known people, but it's not something we're going to lead off to at this moment in time. So for us, it's more interesting, like if, you know, an artist starts off with like 10 grand for one of their pieces and then they end up being like 100 or something just because of the popularity, right? The sheer popularity of users that get attracted to them via the platform.
All right. All right. So how do you ensure like how do you ensure fair and transparent distribution of royalties to artists? I mean, I imagine that is something that has been put into consideration and definitely added, you know, to the ecosystem. So how do you go about it, ensuring fair and transparent distribution of royalties to creative artists like on
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. I mean, like one of the beauties of the blockchain and smart contracts in general is that you don't even need somebody like in a normal business. Like I have my own business right now, right? And but then there's people that we pay to bring us business, right? But sometimes it's a little bit murky about who said what and what led to what for, you know, how do I assign them credit for something that they said 6 months ago that came to me today? That's pretty hard in the Web 2 world, right? Like Web3, it makes it really easy because basically what we're going to do is just automate a small percentage of the trading fee that we take on the secondary market, the buy and sell order. And that just goes straight to the artist's wallet without us having to think about, worry about who gets what. It's just all automatic, right? So that's one of the big plot things we're doing with this is that living artists, not dead ones because they don't need it. Sorry, dead people. But living artists will actually get a royalty automatically, right? And it's not something the user has to enable. It's not something anything. It's system default. Yeah. So what that percentage is, we haven't really calculated internally yet. It is something we're working on, but yeah, every artist that lists on our platform will get that automatic royalty built in.
All right. I want to ask about for any business or traditional business or project or whatever. We all know this is not a case of, I feel like we all know how important it is to get feedback, especially from the user community. So how does Angelo engage with its user community, and how do you get a feedback, especially to continually improve on your platform? platform?
Yeah, so we've already had a bunch of users actually use the platform. Back in around Christmas of this last year here, we ran two tests. So we basically ran like a trading contest, like, okay, uh, best trader wins like $500, go at it. So we had, a couple hundred people already using all the features at the same time. We got a lot of good feedback from that. But also just doing these AMAs. So even just doing the AMA with you, I've already, learned a few things I need to change about the design, the functionality, just to get, you know, the correct feedback. So, like one of the things I mentioned earlier was distinguishing this platform between digital NFTs and physical NFTs, and I just learned I need to do a better job of that. So we'll be changing the design to reflect that more. But yeah, a lot of the core functions that we've enabled have been direct feedback from the community, right? So we have our Discord, we have our Twitter, we have our contests, and we're getting quite a bit of feedback that way. And of course, we have a huge legion of people that are signing up for our airdrop right now, and they're constantly opening tickets on our Discord and giving us suggestions. So that's another way.
All right. I think I'm going to take maybe two questions more, and then I will allow some of the people who'd like to ask question to ask their question in the VC. I think I would like to know okay, say I'm an artist, right? And of course an upcoming one who is not so like what's the word? Not so popular. And I would like to sell my art, right? Let's say I have a beautiful piece of a bunny staring at the stars, and I call it Space Bunny or something. And I want
Where'd
to
you get that
list.
inspiration from? Is that our logo, maybe?
Anyway, so I want to list it on Angelo, right? I'm curious about how the price for this art, like these pieces, are set. Okay, I was going through your website and I saw certain examples, some listed at $2,500. How do you go about like setting the price? Is there some sort of technique that you use, or how do you determine the price of a piece?
You'd be shocked at how non-scientific the pricing for art actually is. I know I was when I first learned about it. But I asked my art gallery friend exactly this question when I was first getting involved in this business. I'm like, how do you like determine the price that this art piece should sell? Like, is there some kind of like metrics? Is there like some sliding scale of rules? And he just looked at me like I was an idiot, and he's like, no. He's like, no, it's the last price it was sold at. And I'm like, what? Really? And I mean, basically, that's it.
Oh,
Basically, like the price, how art is sold today is so ridiculously uncomplicated, almost like defies expectations. So, like basically, whatever the last auction price was, or private collector bought it at, that's now the current value. That's how it works. So all the works that we
wow.
get will have prior sales history for the most part. So we're gonna take that previous value, and that's gonna be like the opening price for the fixed bids. Yeah, very unscientific,
Hmm.
and I'm sure it was surprising to many people listening right now, but that's how it's done. That's why you see in like the
Honestly,
movies, you'll see like these two old billionaires just like getting angry at each other, staring at each other across the hallway, outbidding each other. Those two angry old guys are basically setting the new price level for that art as they try to outdo each other's egos.
wow. I honestly thought that, determining the price of art pieces, I thought that, there was going to be some, should I call it like an art guru, who's going to sit down and hold some sort of magnifying glass and look at the piece critically and say, yes, this what is honestly, that's what I thought. I suppose I've learned something new today. Okay, thank you for answering
You've
that.
learned
Now
something
I
new.
want. Yes, I did. I did. Interested. So I want to talk about the marketing. Yes, this is a very important aspect. I feel like your marketing is going to be double pronged, or should I say two pronged, because you're going to be reaching out to artists. You mentioned that you search for these upcoming artists yourself, right? So your marketing is going to target collectors and is going to target, the Web3 space. So what are the strategies that you have to should I say, run a effective marketing campaign that targets the right crowd, the collectors and the artists and Web3 users, like who investors who would be interested in investing in the project?
Yeah, so for the collectors, the gallerists, and the private art holders, we've already been after those guys and gals for more than like a year now. So we've spent a lot of time with our art advisory team just working out relationships. I mean, one of the reasons no one's gotten involved in this business is because it's really not something you can just do digitally. Like you have to go out there and like actually be at these events. You have to shake hands. So you have to like build relationships. That's how you're going to get people to list art on your platform. It's not going to happen any other way. So we've been doing that for like a good year and a half already, and we feel like that we have sufficient resources now where getting pieces on the platform is not going to be too much of an issue anymore. So your other question, how do we market to investors? Well, given the state of the economy, we're not really right now. So we're entirely self-funded right now. Specifically, most of my other company is actually funding this effort. So, when I first started working on this is almost about 2 years ago, and I sort of had the bright idea, which in retrospect was a stupid idea, but seemed good at the time that I was going to build a product and then ask for investment. But then, of course, the economy crashed and went off a cliff, and all the investors started running for the hills, and so my plan didn't necessarily work out in that regard. But we are in talks with a lot of VCs. We've had a lot of discussions with them. There are a few that are interested, but basically with the state of the economy right now, I mean, unless you have a product that has revenue and is achieved product market fit, you're just not going to get investment right now. And that's fine. So we're going to launch on our own steam, under our own power, and until we achieve that user base and that product market fit. And then we're going to come to these guys that we've already made connections with, and they're interested at that point. Yeah. But we've been to a lot of conferences. We've talked to a lot of investor events. We have those connections once we actually launch, which is going to be in mid-September for all y'all listening. Okay, so that's two parts. You had one more group that I'm missing. Who else am I supposed to be talking about? You said investors, art collectors. What
I think you kind of like and artists, but you already mentioned that you've been after those ones for a long time. So
yes, indeed. The old-fashioned way. We harass and bother everybody that's willing to listen to us.
Right, one of the most effective marketing strategies. I have Tannen. Tannen, if you can hear me.
What up, Jordan? What up, Jenny? I can hear you guys. Anyways, I love the concept. So, do you feel you'll be expanding your services when it comes to digital? Would you be thinking of something more of the digital sector? How would you be expanding your services when it comes to art and everything?
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite understand because your line is a little bit muffled. Could you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
I said, how would you be expanding your services when it comes to art? Like, what more services could we be expecting from you in the future?
It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So, when I started this platform, Fine Art was the first initial product that I wanted to work with, because I felt it was the most readily accessible and least regulated, so thus easier to kind of go in and do something with. But the long-term visions for Angelo is to become like a creative financing engine, essentially. The things that we want to do after this is perhaps actually give people the opportunity to invest in pilots or independent films, right? Independent film or TV pilots actually suffers from the same problems that the art community does as well. Nobody's willing to finance them unless you have like a rock solid track record. So if you're like a newbie trying to break in, it's extraordinarily difficult to get any kind of financing. Now you do have platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo that do that already. But the thing is, like when you support a project on one of those platforms, you don't really get anything, right? I mean, it's like a donation basically, right? So maybe you'll get like a hat or something like that, and you get the credit of helping support a project you like, but you don't actually get anything. But something we're working on right now is applying the same concept of buying fractional ownership of like a TV pilot or a independent film, and actually be able to trade that against other people in the marketplace, right? So the same strategies they would use for stop loss, market orders, trailing losses, these advanced financial controls, we would apply to the same thing for the film industry as well. So we envision this long term as to be like a financing vehicle for all things, creative, and film is hopefully the next one on the menu. So I'm by myself. I will admit that I am not a great artist. I'm just jealous of people that are. So the best thing I can do is help those people succeed where I cannot.
All right, Tannen, you have gone quiet, but I hope that we can take that as satisfaction, that you are satisfied with the answer that you have gotten.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right. So Bard, please go ahead. You usually have great questions. Bard? Okay. Um,
He's giving me a thumbs down. I'm not sure how to take it.
right. Okay. Let us Emery. Emery, please go ahead with your question. If you can hear me, Emery. Probably take Twitter. Finally. Emery.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Despite Elon Musk firing all of his employees, we can still hear you.
Thanks for bringing me up to speak. So, I just want to know, how do you plan to spread awareness and attract more users to know about your project globally? Thank you.
Okay, so I think he said he wants to know how we attract users globally, something to that effect. Yeah, okay. First of all, we're using the time-honored tradition of giving away as much incentives as possible, which always works in marketing. Surprisingly, there's a huge number of people that want free stuff, if you didn't know that already. So we have an airdrop that's going on right now. We want to actually, leverage people's interest in the airdrop to having them learn about the platform, learn about art, right? We have a number of people on board right now that we're putting together various branding campaigns. So very shortly, you're going to see us all over the internet in the next month or so. Influencers, podcasts, AMAs, maybe even a TV media appearance or so. So there's lots of different ways we're gonna try to go about going that. But for anyone who's listening right now, if you really want to market your product, you need to be everywhere all at once. That's how you do it. So I've worked on a lot of marketing campaigns for a lot of different companies, and it basically just always boils down to who has a good PR strategy, who has a good product. You marry those two concepts together, and then you got a winner.
Oh, awesome. Sorry, do you have any ongoing ambassador program?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I said, do you have any ongoing ambassador program that we can apply for?
Yeah. We don't have it yet, but it is coming very shortly.
Okay,
so if you're interested, fucking drop me a line on Discord and we'll get you signed up.
Okay, thank you and good luck.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Emery. Yeah, I think he said thank you and good luck with the project. So yeah, thanks. I've been trying to approve, but oh my God, can we just move to Thread already? Because Twitter is giving me a hard time. Like,
It's a bad idea to fire nine out of 10 of your employees and expect things to work correctly, isn't it?
It's crazy. I'm sorry. I really have been trying to approve your request, so you can ask your question, but it's really not working. So I think I will go ahead and maybe just take the last question before we wrap up this session. Um, I'm curious. What would you say has been should I say, or should I say, one of the challenging part about working on this project? Because the truth is, I feel like the greater the utility that you are offering or building, the greater the challenges that you might experience. Because if you were only, giving us a degen or a main project, I don't think you can compare the challenges involved with that with something like this. So, what would you say has been like one of the most challenging part about the project, and how have you been able to handle that so far?
Well, I regularly fill up at my doctor with a prescription of Percocet, but notwithstanding that medical help, you make a very good observation. That it's so easy to run like a meme project or like a scam project. It's incredibly easy, right? You just need like a website, a good cute meme that's readily identifiable, and then you basically just market. That's it, right? Unfortunately, in the crypto space, in the blockchain space, it's just been so tempting to take advantage of like something that's exciting for like a new generation of people that's the quickest way for success, right? So funny enough, like the more scammy you are, the less barriers you have to entry, right? Even people that have funded Web3 projects in the past, they seem to kind of like overlook like you know, your shadiness, essentially, like just depending like how quickly you can get to market and how quickly you can make money. If you actually want to build something sustainable, like for us, we wanted to approach regulation upfront, right? But just finding out where to get regulated, what rules apply to where, like which agency has oversight, what do they think, what's a security, what's not a security. So like I would say the biggest challenge of this project has just been defining what we actually can do and where we can do it, right? So, I've talked with lawyers across Europe and the UK and the United States, like just finding out that information and finding a way to make your business model actually fit within what's permitted by law has been very difficult, right? Now, fortunately, the European Union has taken like a more forward-thinking approach than most, so we actually were able to finally figure that out. But it was pretty hairy for a while, because we were just trying to you're just trying to like play a game of chicken with the regulators across the world, like, all right, this one says this one's bad and this one's good, and next week, oh my god, there's another added to the list, there's another 5 or 7 tokens that are added to securities. What is a security? I don't know. No one seems to be able to define it for digital assets. So that kind of uncertainty has been like the hardest part of the project, I'd say. Everything else, like building the platform, building the team, and we've already done that. I've done that already. So that part, it's well within our capability, but just the legal uncertainty was the hardest part so far. But fortunately, I think we've crossed the threshold to deal with that already. And of course, if I was just a pirate, you wouldn't even worry about that. Just be like, woo, off we go. Let's set up on an island and just sell.
Right. I just want to say that I think that another really, crazy part about the market is it's how investors, we all cry about not having good projects to invest in. The market is just saturated with degens and memes and projects that spring up and in 24 hours they're dead. And then when we find something worth investing in, something that is long term oriented, we don't seem to be able to hold. Like we are so used to the degen like mentality, and then it's so maddening. I feel like for project owners, it's so maddening to deal with investors like this. And to be honest, I think most of us are just that way. We're so used to the degen style that when we find something worth holding on to, we still bring the mindset, the degen mindset of let's fucking go to the moon, and nobody's able to hold or support the project, and it's just so crazy. Honestly, I'm rooting for you guys though, because like I said, this is like one of a kind, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody else is doing this. I feel like this is like something totally different.
Nope.
So
that's it.
so
no one else is crazy enough besides me to pour most of their own savings into the project and pray to God it works.
So I definitely want to see this work. Could you give us maybe a little bit of info on when we can participate in the public sale round? You know?
Yeah, so the platform is going to be launched around mid-September is our target date for now. It may move back 1 month if for some reason, some unforeseen reason, we're not able to complete our goal. But I think mid-September is the hard date we're looking at. End of summer, new beginnings. That's kind of the mind people are in at that state when they get back from vacation. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of the space is just accustomed to like get rich quick kind of stuff, and I think it's happened to even me, right? When I bought like a crypto token back in 2021, I was like, wow, it went up like 60% yesterday. It's going to go up another 60%, right? It's just like the numbers just like cast a magic spell on your mind. You just like throw your logic out the window. But we are trying to build something very long term here, something very sustainable, and something that actually makes a difference, right? So, with blockchain, I think that's the problem, is just the pirates have come in, and just maybe now you actually have people that are trying to build something that's actually makes sense for a business.
Jordan got caught up. Or is it me again? Because perhaps.
Sorry, did I lose you? Still there, Jenny, or did we lose you? All right, well, let's make a petition for Twitter to hire more devs. That would be good. I can't even join Twitter Spaces from my desktop. God's sakes. I'm walking around on my phone like it's the 1990s here with my stupid Bluetooth headset in. But thank you guys for listening to me. I really appreciate it. If you would like to hear more about us, go to angelo.app/airdrop or just jump on our newsletter. Support projects like us. The last guys that were on here, prop based, I'm going to give a shout out to them. They have a great product as well. Tokenizing real estate, tokenizing real estate into tokens. It's a great thing to support. Try your best not to buy meme coins to support the dodgy projects that are in the market now, because it doesn't help any of us. But thanks for listening for us talk about our project here. I appreciate it. I don't know if anyone else from the crypto miners team wants to chime in here while the technology failure is ongoing, but otherwise I'll just sign off for now. All right, I'm getting lots of hands up, high fives. I'm gonna take that as a good sign. No thumbs down or bar faces. That's good. Thanks for having us here, everyone. Follow Crypto Miners, follow Angelo. Y'all have a good week.